Thank y'all for coming out. God bless.
Yeah,
See you next week.
Yeah. All right. I wanted to turn this game off literally 3 minutes into it.
Because you knew.
Yeah. And I thought, I have to watch this so I can do under construction. That's why I have to literally watch every snap so I can speak intelligibly on the game. Although Jamal Cowan, one of our fans, said, nah, you can just check the box score. Anything you say about the game will probably be accurate.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is no different than what we say about the Panthers every week. It might be worse this week.
It's Groundhog's Day.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, see, the thing is, there's a lot you could say from a pure football standpoint, right? Even without looking at the YouTube analysis that is going to come out tomorrow on everyone's channels and all 22. There's a lot that you could just look at this game and see what's wrong. But I don't think the Panthers' woes have anything to do with football. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Yeah.
It's deeper than football.
Right. I felt like they actually, so last week they looked like a bad college team. This week they just like a bad NFL team. That's progress, yeah. Right?
Right.
But I don't think that it's necessarily on the field stuff is why the Panthers are so bad.
There's a stink.
Yeah, as pundits were saying all last week, this is what you get, right? In this game, I'm so glad I'm actually glad the Chargers won, and I think you know why I'm saying that.
Yep.
There's a saying Jerry Jones has famously said, "There is no check big enough that I wouldn't sign to win the Cowboys a Super Bowl." Now, as much as we hate Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, I feel like that's a mentality every owner in every professional sport should have. Right. I will spend however much money it takes to get a chip. But I don't believe David Tepper has that mentality. The reason being is that you hired Dave Canales instead of the guy on the other side of the sidelines today, who is just a better coach on every level. And he trounced the Panthers. And I'm not saying Harbaugh would have come to the Panthers, because I do think there's another conversation that has to be said about, do people really want to come play for David Tepper or coach for David Tepper? But we didn't even make the guy an offer. I would have given I would have been like, how much money do you need? How much? Just name a number. Coaches don't go against the salary cap. What you pay a coach comes out of your personal bank account, and we know that David Tepper, the richest owner in the NFL, he got literally $5 billion in cash in his account. We're not even talking about assets and stock options. This man just sitting on $5 billion in the bank. And like Chris Rogers says, Harbaugh apparently called him and said, "Hey, I want to be the coach." I would have been like, just name a number. Just however many zeros you want behind that bitch, just do that. But you didn't. You wanted to be smart, and you went and hired. So you went and hired the guy who was the offense coordinator for the 28th ranked offense in the NFL. That's the guy that's going to fix Bryce Young. And then,
but to add to that, Kaza, that guy said, "Well, Bryce Young doesn't really need a lot of fixing."
Doesn't need a lot.
Just want to point that out. Yeah.
Would Harbaugh help this offense? I'm not sure about that, but I think the Panthers, the biggest reason they got, not the reason they lost, but the reason they've lost by these huge margins, they're just getting out coached. The play calling is so bad. Dog,
it's horrible.
You're down 20 points in the second and 12, and you run like a halfback dive.
So here's my question, Kaza. If you are calling plays that conservatively, that lets us know that you don't really trust Bryce Young. So the question is, Why the hell is he out there if you don't trust him? Hello, guys. Welcome to Under Construction, by the way. We're mad and angry and depressed and apathetic.
I want to talk about what could have been, because, I mean, it's spilled milk, right? A lot of people talk about, man, we missed on CJ Stroud. I don't see it that way. We missed by not keeping Steve Wilks and not keeping Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. By the way, how are those two guys doing? How they playing?
Sam Darnold threw a 97-yard pass today.
I know that.
Yep.
Yeah. How's Baker Mayfield doing?
Baker Mayfield looks reborn this year so far.
We got rid of both those guys and Steve Wilks. We traded all of our picks, one of our best players, the best player in the NFL last season. We traded him away to get some picks. And then we traded those picks to draft the number one pick. And you and I said this 2 years ago. Whoever you draft,
got to be the guy.
Got to be, and not just the guy for the Panthers. I'm talking the guy for the league.
We're talking yellow jacket, buddy.
He got to be the guy. And that's it's not Bryce Young. And it's not even CJ Stroud. So all these people are like, well, we should have drafted Stroud. We should have drafted Anthony Richardson. No, we should have recognized the good thing when we had it. You had Steve Wilks, had these boys playing. Guys wanted to play for him. You had two capable quarterbacks.
You had something to build on.
Yeah, but
professionals.
Spill milk. Here we are now. Where do we go from here?
So, cuz let me speak more to that, man, because you open up the show saying that it's deeper than football, and I don't think we talk enough about that. The Steve Wilks thing, it's been echoed numerous amount of times, man. I mean, it's been said over and over by everyone else, but here on Under Construction, let's kind of delve into this a little more, man. I said, me and you, again, we didn't talk a lot of Panthers this offseason, mainly because, again, not a lot to talk about, man. And plus, I think we were just kind of fed up. We were just like, we're tired of hyping this team up every offseason. Show improve us. Nothing to talk about in the offseason. However, one thing that needed to be talked about again, I did mention previously how a lot of the guys on defense in particular, Jeremy Chin, Brian Burns, help me out here, man. Frankie Louvu. We could just keep it with those three. Those were Wilkes guys. They're not on this team. And again, Kaza, I don't know if you remember me saying this, man. How Brian Burns didn't look happy after that whole Wilkes thing went down. Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin, like we can talk to our sister Vassai about this. Those guys were not happy in the locker room during the Frank Reich era. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that has carried over to what we're seeing now, man. And again, that just kind of points to there being some kind of stench in that locker room. I don't think it's all good in that locker room, man. I think all those guys, the Clownies and the Josie Jules and whoever else, man, and I don't think anybody's really feeling it right now. And to further that point, if you look on the field, where's the leadership? Are we seeing any leadership on the field? I don't. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see guys getting after it on the field. I don't see anybody holding anybody else accountable, man. So again, I think there's a bad culture and a bad stench on this team that nobody else is really seeming talking about right now, man.
Yeah. And although, I mean, Dave Canales, I felt like his demeanor, his attitude and narrative leading up to the season.
It felt good.
Yeah, it did. And I'm not going to fault him for that, but you still have to produce. And we're not even expecting the Panthers to be winning these games. Let's be fair. But, I mean, you just are getting blown out because there's no competence.
Kaza, in these first two games, we have set records for lowest points and total amount of yards given up the first two games.
And the Panthers they're not doing themselves any, teams create their own luck, right?
Right.
For instance, if the Panthers were considered a good team, the refs would have given them that fumble recovery the Chargers' second drive of the game. That was
Right.
clear. That was about as clear as a fumble as I thought that you could get. Right?
Same.
But the Panthers are bad. So fuck it. No, that was an incomplete.
We see a lot of that with the team 5 minutes away from the Panthers.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's the reality. I hate that's the way it is, but that's the reality. Good teams get good calls. The Panthers are so bad though. They're not going to get any respect from the refs, other teams, the league in general, and that really starts at the top. No one respects David Tepper. Nobody. I don't even think the league respects him. They just like his money. But after the shenanigans he pulled last season, throwing drinks on fans at games, going to local restaurants that criticize him, like showing up, like what's he like rolling up on cats? What other owner does that?
I mean, and I don't want to delve too deep in this conversation because it's really a conversation for another day. But the NFL might want to start reviewing who they're letting in their good old boy league, man. Because if you got your boy walking around like the White Suge Knight, and your team has a sub 400 record since you've been here, money might not be all your net worth may not be all that needs to matter going forward. You understand what I'm saying?
And of course, it's a very Panthers thing that we're probably going to get the number one pick again.
Yep.
But there's no one to draft.
But that number one pick is going to be a hard conversation, man. I get what you're saying, but there is going to be a very big decision to make there, especially if your billionaire egotistical owner is going to be involved in the pick again. That's going to be a difficult process going forward.
You pick the best pass rusher in college, and you build around him.
But Kaiser, here you go, giving advice again to people who are not going to listen to you, sir. You know what's going to happen. They're not going to do what makes sense. Let's get over the fact that they're not going to do what makes sense. Shadur Sanders is going to be sitting right there, number one, and David Tepper's going to walk his ass into that office. Guys, we've been trying this franchise QB thing for a while now. I think this is really the one. This is really it. Hey, I'm going to really push you to really. We know how it's going to go. We know.
I know. And God, don't let the Panthers draft Shadur Sanders and ruin that man's career. First of all, I think he'll be a solid pro. I don't think he'd be good for the Panthers. I don't even think Dion would let him come play for him.
I was about to say, man, if we need Dion to be LeVar Ball, boy, this would be the chance right now, man.
No, I don't think we want that kind of publicity anyway. I think you pick the best pass rusher in the draft. Quarterback, pass rusher, two most important players on the field. Pick the best pass rusher. Do like Denver did almost 10 years ago. They picked Von Miller because, ironically, they picked him because
clearly it's the right choice.
Yeah, they would have picked Cam Newton if he had been available. Ironically, but Cam Newton was available. They picked Von Miller, and they won a Super Bowl because of Von Miller. Let's do the same. They had a washed-up Peyton Manning. They dragged him to the Super Bowl. I think we could. We've had all these bridge QBs in the last few years anyway. Just sign another one of those guys.
Right.
Put a solid defense on the field. The defense that was number 4 last season in yards given up. That's so.
Look, man. At the risk of being repetitive, because I really want your opinion on this, and anybody in the chat room to explain to me, because I wish I knew the answer to this question. I'm gonna ask this one more time, man. If you're going to play call that conservatively, why is Bryce Young on the field? When does Andy Dalton get that call?
You're the new coach, and Bryce is the owner's guy. You're not gonna play the owner's guy? You think then Monday morning? We know every owner in the league meets with their staff Monday mornings.
Right.
And do you want to be in that meeting and Tepper's like, hey, how come you didn't play my guy? We brought you here to
fix my guy.
To fix my guy.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Right. Supposedly.
Well, and that's stupid. David Canellis is not the guy to fix. I mean, look at what Harbaugh.
Well, I mean, somebody gave him the title of QB whisperer. I don't know who did,
I don't know who. But yeah, looking at the Chargers, and they even said this on the broadcast. The Chargers were like number 2 in the league last year in pass attempts. The first 2 weeks, they're like middle of the pack. Number 3 in rushing.
Justin Herbert only had 130 yards today.
Right.
But, we have 200 rushing yards.
Justin Herbert is a way better quarterback than Bryce Young. But they know Harbaugh understands how you play against your opponent. We can rush the ball. We got to protect our quarterback and let him put the ball in the hands of the playmakers. Panthers ain't figured out how to do that yet because Canellis doesn't know how. Think about who he had when he was in Tampa. First of all, he had Mike Evans running all over the field.
Yeah. Chris Godwin.
Mike Evans.
Chris Godwin. Yeah. Good point. Great point, man.
I think it's the play calling. Yeah. Okay. Andy was hurt in preseason. He's 100%. He might not. Andy Dalton is old. Let's not forget. He came in the league same year Cam Newton did. I mean, that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, "Hey, let's just put Dalton in." Why? Dalton's probably not going to be with the team one more season, maybe. Why not just let Bryce Young go out there and?
Well, okay. So let's talk about this. I get what you're saying, but at what point do you run the risk of losing the team behind Bryce Young's bad play? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we've seen that before.
Doesn't matter.
It probably doesn't matter, but at the same time, you don't want to lose the team, man. Like, and it goes back to our conversation starting the show. If there's already a bad stench in the locker room, if there's already a bad culture in the locker room, you run the risk of making it worse. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't want to make your culture worse because there's all kind of stuff that can result as a domino effect. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll tell you this much. It may not matter in the short term as far as draft positioning, wins, losses, but in the long term, man, the conversation to me has to be had, man.
I agree, but it's at this point, first of all, the Panthers season is a wash. Even if you put Andy Dalton at center, your best, Derek Brown, maybe the best player on the team, is gone for the season, right? We didn't even talk about that.
Right.
Gone for the season. So you're going to look at that schedule. Look at that schedule. At this point, I don't even see a win. I don't see a win. We might get the Giants in Germany.
Maybe the Giants. Maybe.
So, what I don't see there. It's like kind of like, what's the point? Because here's the thing: if Andy Dalton goes out there and he's trash too, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's not even Derek Anderson, right? So, okay, Andy Dalton goes out there and he makes everyone feel good about losing again. If you're gonna lose, you might as well lose with what you know what I'm saying, with your young guys. It's the same conversation we have with the Hornets every season, right? If you're gonna lose, you might as well play these guys, right? This is how bad the Panthers are, though, right?
But allow me to play devil's advocate, man. Okay, so you stick with Bryce Young, you go out there and you stink it up, man. What are your plans for next year, or what are your plans for the next 5 years? And what I mean by that is, what decision do you make with Bryce Young? Like, how long do you stick with him? You get what I mean?
I think you're right. The Panthers do have to stop thinking, what do we do to win now? Instead, they need to think, what do we need to do to be winning 5 years from now?
Right.
And maybe they felt like Bryce was the beginning of that. But call it what it is. He's not. Okay.
Very rough start to be nice about it.
So you got to start. It's okay to start over. At some point, you have to, instead of just getting to sunk cost fallacy.
Hey, well, we've been starting over for the last 7 years, man.
I know.
But
you either get a quarterback or a stud defensive player to build your franchise. There is no in between. It's not like
no doubt.
the NBA. There's no magical formula. Look what the Panthers did in 2011. They drafted Cam Newton, and the very next year, everyone booed at the draft party when they drafted Luke Kuechly. But that was the best decision because he was the best defensive player coming out of college. And,
Absolutely.
And look what happened, right? The Panthers
and y'all out there don't lie and say y'all didn't because I distinctly remember.
He was there. I saw y'all boo Luke Kuechly. I saw that. Okay, I remember that. But
because all of y'all wanted Fletcher Cox that year. I remember. I know. Yeah,
Fletcher Cox would have been a good. He would have been a good pick.
He was a good player, but whatever.
But I mean, that's Marty Herney. I'll give him this credit, and I know the fans are always conflicted on Herney stay as a GM. I'll always defend the guy because he got a lot of guys with yellow jackets, right?
Yeah.
He got a lot of guys that's going to get that yellow jacket that he drafted. So, but he understood, hey, to build a team, you need a good quarterback, stud defensive player. And we ain't figured that out yet. We've had we've had a decent enough quarterback. We traded those guys away, gave them away.
So I want to speak to Chris's point real quick about how we never have salary cap money. Well, when you fire your salary cap specialist, this is what happens when you do so. When you say to yourself, "Oh, we don't need a salary cap guy. We could just survive with a GM. What do we need a salary cap guy for?" This is what you get. So blame your owners, Tepper Suge Knight for that one.
I gotta think that Tepper is so involved in salary cap stuff. I mean, he's a money guy. That's why how he got to where he is. I gotta think that he is very involved in all of those processes. I mean, just sign the checks
and get out the way.
Yeah. Because I'm not even mad at what Dan Morgan was able to do in the offseason. That offseason that we all thought was just lost.
Right.
I felt like he assembled a good enough team. I think the team is better than what we've seen the first 2 weeks. But as far as pure talent wise, they're better. Maybe not against the Saints. The Saints look like they might win a Super Bowl this year. But against the Chargers, 26-3, that's not a 26-3 team out there.
So back to the game for a second. I know there's not much to talk about, but there's something that is glaring out to me that as far as this game goes, we let J.K. Dobbins run for 131 yards on 7.7 yards a carry on 17 carries. Look, man, I've already alluded to a lot of Wilkes guys not being on defense, man. But we can safely say, at least for the first 2 weeks of this season, there has been a drop-off defensively with this team. I think that's safe to say for the first 2 weeks. And, I'm kind of puzzled and very surprised at the drop-off I've seen defensively. It was almost unheard of for the Panthers team to give up 200 yards rushing to
they went like almost 100 games in a row without giving up a 100-yard rusher at one point, right?
Right, man. So, and we're here, and again, man, somebody smarter than me can help me out on this. This is what I did not foresee happening. I could foresee, the Panthers turning the ball over 3 or 4 times to help the other team win. I could foresee a bunch of penalties. I could foresee Bryce Young throwing some interceptions. But to give up 200 rushing yards is not being talked about enough with this particular game. And that ain't Bryce Young's fault, y'all. So, I'm puzzled.
Say, though, I don't. The offense and the defense have to have like a symbiotic relationship,
a synchronicity, right?
Yes. And they
right.
don't. The offense is not putting the defense in. The defense forced, 2 turnovers? Almost 3.
Yeah. Good point.
Almost 4.
Really 3.
And then he touched the punt returner. If he hadn't touched him, that would have been a muffed punt. So, but the defense you can't keep giving them these short ass fields. You can't go 3 and out literally every play. You can't go 0 for 12 on third down.
And stupid me, I of course I need to think about the fact that Derrick Brown is not on the field. Of course that matters. Of course that does. But still, man, even with Derrick Brown not being on the field, this is excessive for any Panthers team, man.
I think you should go back to I think you should go back with 4-3 defense, because losing Derrick Brown is not quite as impactful if you got 2 defensive tackles in the middle,
no doubt,
like a single 3 technique and 2 defensive ends. And then you're relying on your linebacker core, which we have a weak linebacker core.
It is important to know A'Shawn Robinson did kind of limp off the field at some point, man. I don't know how much that mattered either, but it's important.
Well, I think we already to the point in the season where guys are like,
well, injuries.
My leg. So we need to give. Do we need to give Ejiro Evero some smoke? We don't ever really give him some smoke, but
we do.
He deserves a lot of it.
I'm gonna tell you specifically why, man. Because in the offseason when Dan Morgan was making those moves, you best believe he consulted with Evero on some of those guys to bring in with that 3-4 defense. Hell yeah, he deserves some smoke, man.
Yeah, I think the play calling is part of the biggest issue as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now the ball, the touchdown they gave up, they blitzed J.C. Horn, which is dumb. He's your best cover guy, right? He lost out on a single coverage play, which was a great throw and a catch. JC actually had really good coverage. He just missed, playing on the ball, gave up a touchdown. But he comes down the field. The very next series, scores an interception. He's all over the field. He's your best coverage defender. Why are you blitzing him? And then you blitz him, and the Chargers run a simple high-low concept. And the guy is, wide open.
Wide open.
Then you have Josie Jewell having to make a decision. Do I defend high or low? That's like...
let's talk about that particular play. Because that one, I was sitting on my couch like, look, man, I'm just a guy that has a YouTube show with you, man. And I'm looking at that play like, that's the play you called on the goal line? Really?
A corner
cover 2 on the goal line? What?
Like, that's the kind of, for those of y'all that play Madden, when I see that, when I read that coverage, I'm like, oh, this is touchdown.
Easy pickings, right?
Yeah, that's like, oh, woo, I'm about to get this.
Did you hear the commentator? Oh, well, all he did was just kind of go across the zone and sit in the zone. What do I know, man?
Will we be the first ever 0-17 team in the league? Let's come back to this. Let's finish talking about the on-field of the game, and then we'll talk about, because that is a great question. And
unfortunately, it's a fair question.
It is. Let's look at the box score. Garbage. Okay, so it's funny. Chuba Hubbard only 10 rushes for 64 yards.
Not bad game, right? Yeah.
6.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, but we got down 20-0 pretty quickly, man. So they abandoned that run real quick, man. With the quarterback they don't trust. Go figure.
I don't know. Bryce Young's stat line, 18 for 26 for only 84 yards and a
3.2 yards
per
pass.
Yeah. Or per attempt. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness, man.
How many times can you throw a smoke route in a game? And then watch your receiver get dusted by the corner of the safety coming down in the box. Because the Chargers were playing the box because they were like, Bryce Young is going to be this deep. So
he ain't throwing it down the field.
No, here's another thing. If the safeties are in the box, you don't throw smoke routes. a screen maybe, but those weren't screens because the offensive players weren't letting the offensive line weren't setting up the screens. Those are just straight smoke routes to wide receivers, hitch routes. And then so the safeties are in the box. They only have to go 5 yards to meet the receiver.
To that point, Kaza, did we not hear all week about how Bryce Young will now have the autonomy to change the play at the line of scrimmage? Did we not hear that all week? Did you see that happen one time this game? I didn't.
I don't think he has that autonomy because this isn't what we were seeing in Alabama.
No, not at all.
Bryce Young could recognize safeties in the box. Let me run high-low concept, and I gotta keep those safeties honest. That's what you do when the safeties are in the box. You don't run the ball. You don't run short routes. You can maybe get away with the screen and let the safeties be over-aggressive, but you don't throw it to your guy 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then the safety's right there. If you're gonna do that, just run the ball. Just get the ball to the guy averaging 6.5 yards a carry.
And why is Deontay Johnson out there? Why is he even out there? When he bought here to take the top off the defense?
No. We running him on drags. That's what we're doing.
So the whole core is running drag routes the whole game. Is that?
Yeah, and the guy that we traded up into the first round again. Let's put him on drags.
Oh my God! Yeah, yeah, that's pretty hard to guard when all three receivers are running drag routes. Yeah, that's really hard to guard. That's sarcasm, y'all.
Yeah, this is, so how do you think other teams prepare for the Panthers? They probably don't.
Pretty easy. That Kaza, when they asked Harbaugh something to the effect of like, how do you defend the Panthers? Man, he gave the most generic answer. Like,
he was trying to be so nice. Harbaugh's a nice guy. I love him, Harbaugh. But he was trying to be, they're professionals and no.
I know Harbaugh wanted to say, this is probably the easiest game plan I'm going to have all year.
Yeah, blitz. Teams are like, the commentators said this as well. Teams are not afraid of Bryce Young. They're going to send heat. But the Chargers really didn't even send heat. They
really didn't blitz a lot.
They're going to drop everyone in coverage because we know that guys aren't going to get open. The O-line sucks. We can get pressure with Bosa and Khalil Mack. But here's the thing. They really didn't. He had a clean pocket most of the game.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is seeing ghosts. That first interception he threw, he threw it too quickly because he felt it's kind of like Sam Darnold when he was here. Sam Darnold's balling in Minnesota because he's not seeing those ghosts. But when he was here, he thought he was back in New York.
Important to note, after Christian McCaffrey left, make sure you include that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah. Other box scores. What's Miles Sanders doing? What's his job?
Why is he here? Why is he here?
Yeah.
Why is Miles Sanders here?
Who the fuck is Gus Edwards? This guy had 18 yards 18 carries for 59 yards for San Diego. I don't know who that is.
I think he's the guy Baltimore cut. I think, or just let go, maybe. Yeah, but whatever, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, remember Jonathan Mingo? One catch for 1 yard. How do you get one catch from how? I don't even. It's tough to talk about this team, man, because I don't know where to go. I don't know. I guess the question is, man, how does this get better? Is there an answer to that question? The coach staff is way more qualified to answer that. It does. It's not gonna get better this season throughout the course of the season, and see that's okay, right? But I just don't see the path forward. I'll say this: at least when Jimmy Clausen was stinking up the league, the path forward was, man, next year's draft, we got Cam Newton coming out of Auburn, or Andrew Luck. This is before Andrew Luck decided, he was going to stay another year, or Von Miller. We knew the Panthers was going to be bad enough to get one of those guys, 3 franchise-changing players, right? One of those 3. And we got one, right? We got Cam Newton, and then we got Luke Kuechly next year, and the Panthers were good for, 5-6 seasons. There is no path forward for the Panthers. They're going to get the number 1 pick, and who are they going to draft? I mean, Pierce is my guy from Tennessee, James Pierce, who I think is.
Yeah, Pierce is a dog, man. That wouldn't be a bad pick at all. I'm with you, man.
I don't even think the Panthers would have the foresight to draft him. They're gonna say Bryce Young didn't work out. They're gonna end up like, I think of the Browns for so many years, Cleveland for so many years, the Jets for so many years, the Chicago Bears, their entire existence.
Have you ever seen the picture? I think there was some guy who created a whole Cleveland Browns quarterback graveyard. Like, I don't know if it was a T-shirt or a picture or something, man, but it was a graveyard of just QBs the Browns drafted. We're heading that way, man.
I mean, honestly, we're already not far from that. Think about all the QBs we've had in our history. Who's been good? Yeah,
let's just talk about no. We ain't gotta go back that far. Let's just talk about since Cam. Teddy.
Okay, Teddy, Sam, Baker, Andy Dalton.
Yeah, Bryce. Now, hey, we're slowly creeping up there, buddy. One thing we did not talk about that also very much needs to be brought up, and I'm saying this may be the biggest factor of this game, man. 1 for 12 on third down efficiency.
That's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's god awful. You can't win a football game if you can't convert on third down. And here's something interesting about that stat that I noticed, and sad at the same time. A lot of those third downs, man, because Chuba Hubbard, when he actually was getting the ball, there was a lot of 3rd and 4s. There were some 3rd and 5s. There was some very manageable third downs throughout this game, and we're still 1 for 12.
Oh, hey, actually, let me. Brandon Jarvis brings a good point. They keep blitzing on third down. Bryce is terrified. You know why Bryce is terrified? What if you think the defense is going to blitz? You always have a what? You always have a hot route. You always have a hot route.
Yeah.
The Panthers never run hot routes on third down.
Right.
They never have a guy leaking out, right? So there was a play in which the Panthers call like a mid blitz. They blitzed Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell up the middle. The blitz got picked up. Justin Herbert saw, their middle linebackers blitz. Guess what that means?
Somebody's open in the middle.
Nobody's in the middle. On first down, right? That never happens with the Panthers. We never have any of the commentators like, well, Chargers blitz and the Panthers don't have anyone to throw to. Really? You gotta and I'm not saying Bryce would even found the hot route, but every play they go, okay, here's your hot route. Every quarterback knows, here's your hot route on this play. It's either gonna be somebody on a drag or a hitch or something like. I mean, we run drag routes all game, right? And then
we get to third down. It's like, well, let's try something different.
We start running post routes. What are we doing? I don't understand.
When we don't even have time to run post routes. You understand?
Yeah. And then third and 2, we got a guy averaging 6 yards a carry. Let's run a deep post.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, this is a good point as well, Brandon. Brandon coming with the heat today. This is the first time this season or last that I've seen Bryce just give up.
He looks defeated, man. I agree.
He's like, I don't know what else I can do. I don't know what else I can do.
Even, and I'll take it, and Brandon, I'll take it a step further, man. Like I've been even noticing in his press conferences lately, like he doesn't even know what to say. Like, and we know, I think we all agree, Bryce Young is a smart young man. And in the last couple of press conferences I've heard him, like he sounds like I don't know what to tell you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is a young man who can articulate himself, just as good as anybody I've seen, man. And not only does he sound defeated, he sounds bewildered and puzzled.
Okay, so
and that's the problem.
Before we talk, a lot of people in the chat asking about the jump pass. Before we talk about that, I do want to say we do have to keep in mind, since Bryce Young was drafted, or since he took his first NFL snap, how many head coaches has he had? 3. How many offensive coordinators? 2. How many different play callers? 4.
Yeah.
I mean, could any quarterback not named Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Dan Marino, Drew Brees,
Tom Brady,
Hall of Famers, could any quarterback come into a situation like that and thrive? I'm going to say no.
I said that last week, man. I mean, we all know the C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young thing is always going to be a conversation, but we said it last week, man. Who would come in here and would be set up for success coming here?
Stroud has a head coach that is going to be with the team a while. They're going to build together, just like Cam and Ron Rivera, just like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Just like Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy. You know what I'm saying? That's how you build. Bryce Young didn't get that. I think they wanted that with him and Frank Reich, but Reich was not the right pick.
Not the guy. Nope.
And I think Steve Wilkes would have. I hate to keep harping on that, but that would have. Man, I think that would have been a good combination.
And the thing is, man, like we and a lot of other people keep harping on Steve Wilkes, but it is literally the only time we've seen any semblance of continuity in the last 7 years, man. It's the only time we've ever seen something that looked like continuity in the last 7 years.
Yeah, that last 8 games they played under Wilkes,
right.
That was the best the Carolina Panthers have looked
in 7 years
since the end of the Cam Newton era. So, I don't know what else the Panthers can do. I mean, we know what they have to do. Can they do it? Will they do it? Do people even want to deal with Tepper? I mean, if Harbaugh was willing to come here and Tepper was like, nah, bro, we're going to roll with Dave Canales. If you're another coach, what do you think about that? You're like, damn, they didn't even want to get the best guy coming out of college.
Right.
They went and got Matt Rule out of college. They paid Matt Rule, but they went and get Jim Harbaugh out of Make it make sense.
I don't know anymore, man. But I think you mentioned it earlier, man. It's Tepper outthinking himself and outsmarting himself. You know what I mean? Like, let me show everybody I'm smarter than everybody else and get the guy that I think is pretty good that nobody else is talking about. And obviously, so far, it hadn't worked out at all, man. And make no mistake about it, man. I don't think Canales is doing Bryce Young any favors. I don't, man. Nah.
Yeah, that's what I want to come back to this point about the jump throws. This is on Canales. You know why? If you see your quarterback out there doing that, shouldn't you make an adjustment?
Right.
Shouldn't you be like, wow, why the fuck is my quarterback
having
doing volleyball spikes?
Just to have good throwing windows.
Right. We'd be like, yeah.
And wait a minute, Kaza. I thought that spending damn near $100 million on your offensive line this offseason would correct that too. Because you would think adding the guys you added would create bigger pockets to do that, right?
I would think. I mean, Bryce Young is not the only short quarterback in the NFL ever, right?
I mean to cut you off, man, but I want to talk about that because at some point we got to stop making excuses with Bryce Young and his height. Being that what's the guy that plays for the Cardinals? What's the little? I was going to say something bad. What's the little fella plays for the Cardinals?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray doesn't have these excuses, man. He doesn't have these issues. Drew Brees didn't have these issues, man. So at some point, man, you got to make an adjustment, man.
Doug Flutie didn't have these issues, and Doug Flutie was right.
So,
I get it. Bryce Young is short, so you have to adjust for that. But that's the thing. You have to adjust for that. Adjust for it, right? Realize that his passing windows aren't going to be the same. I don't think he has a problem like seeing over the offensive line because he drops back, 5 to 7 yards every play. But
right.
like screen passes, that's why he was having to jump, because in those cases you do have to see over the line because they're setting up the screen right in front of you. There are ways. Canales just isn't the guy to find those ways to adjust for Bryce Young.
Right. Here's an idea, Kaiser. How about you stop throwing screen passes and throw the damn ball down the field? How about that? Anyway, whatever, man.
I don't know. I think Bryce Young has seen ghosts out there. He's shot. Someone said the Sam Darnold effect. Remember Sam Darnold in New Jersey, where it was clear that he thought he was seeing shadows, and I think that's Bryce Young.
I think the play, to kind of sum it all up, man, and going back to that interception, and the commentators like, well, he's trying to anticipate a throw, and to me, that's just a young quarterback trying to do too much. You keep it simple. If I'm Canales, if I'm the guy in charge to quote unquote try to make Bryce Young better, I try to keep it simple as much as I can. And when I say keep it simple, no, I don't mean run a bunch of damn 3-yard hitches. No, that's not what I mean. I don't mean run a bunch of damn drag routes, man. I try to keep his concepts simple as I possibly can, man. You know what I mean? Like, if they are blitzing, hey, go to your hot route. You know what I mean? Like, if you do have time to throw, be creative. Go out the pocket. Give him the freedom to do so. Don't just kind of bottle him up and make him a worse version of what he already is, man. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. But I just
Cam Newton on his podcast recently was talking about play calling, like in the huddle, and how the play calls come from the offensive coordinator, because there was a audio clip of Dennis Allen with the Saints giving a play call to the quarterback, and it took him like literally like 30 seconds to say the whole play call,
right.
And Cam Newton just kind of broke down what that all meant, and he was saying, Cam Newton was like, I never understood why you would have all that. Just simplify it. And he even said when he had Rob Chudzinski, they just simplified it.
Right.
They were like,
perfect example.
Exactly. Right. And we have always been big fans of Rob Chudzinski because we felt like what he was able to do with Cam Newton, Jeremy Shockey, and Greg Olsen, Cam's rookie season was incredible. So, you might have to do, I'm not saying simplify the actual nomenclature of the play calling, but simplify the actual play calling. Run simple concepts, flood concepts, high-low concepts. Move Bryce around out of the pocket, like the Cardinals do with Kyler Murray. Why aren't you doing that? You move him out of the pocket. Now he doesn't have to worry about looking over the offensive line. I just don't understand.
Be creative.
The only time Bryce moves out of the pocket is because the pocket collapses in half a second. So last point I want to address from this is Canales is a rookie. He is learning as well. So I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway. But we've had rookie head coaches before, right?
Right. A lot of them.
John Fox was a rookie head coach when he came
to
the Packers.
Right.
He took us to the Super Bowl. Ron Rivera was a rookie head coach. He took us to the Super Bowl. Now, granted, it took those guys 3 seasons each to get us there. But do you really think that Dave Canales is going to take us at least to the playoffs in 3 seasons?
Now, all of this is not his fault. Obviously, he obviously has come into a very dysfunctional situation, man. But just the impressions of what we've seen so far, that answers a big fat no so far, man. Because he just offensively, man, we look clueless and just like we have no identity on offense, man. So I think we lost Kaiser. Kaiser might have dropped
I'm still here. Yeah, I just don't think Canales is he's not the guy to get us there. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it.
I'm not saying it either. I'm not. Because it's too much simple stuff I think he's missing on right now, man.
Incorporate. Yeah, here's why are we not passing on this guy? Is he not getting open?
Who's that?
Xavier Leggett.
Right.
I was so excited about this pick. I would hate to ruin him more than Bryce Young because I think his potential upside is greater than that of even Bryce Young.
Well, Kyle, not to sound like a broken record, man, but how long have we been talking about dysfunctional offense in the Panthers, man?
7, 8 years.
Yeah, it's been total dysfunction for a long time now. Ever since that bad man left, it has been that this offense has never even looked decent since that man left. Other than when Steve Wilkes was there.
The curse. Our friend Jonathan Goldsmith, who may or not be watching the show today, said, "Man, the Panthers fans don't deserve this." And I thought, but do we not? We didn't appreciate Cam when he was here. I know most of us in the chat did, but a lot of people in Charlotte did not. He was too brash. He was too arrogant. They tolerated him because the Panthers were winning. But the second we weren't winning, all Cam Newton, Cam Newton is like it was all Cam Newton's fault.
Right.
We didn't appreciate Ron Rivera, and I don't think Ron. And I still lay blame for Super Bowl 50 at Ron Rivera's feet. He got outcoached that game, but the guy was a 2-time Coach of the Year. He took,
nothing to sniff at, man.
Yep, he came in and gave the Panthers identity and made us a better team than we had ever been prior. Right
at any point in time, right?
Didn't appreciate him. Those guys leave, and I think Luke Kuechly. I still think Luke Kuechly retired because Cam Newton was cut. I'll always believe that. Why would he stay? Greg Olson's gone. Your coach is gone. Your friend Cam's gone.
Why would I stick around for this? Why am I going to stick around
for this? Head even more, right?
Right.
So, that started the curse. You trade away McCaffrey, and I can actually understand why the McCaffrey trade happened. I'm not upset about that trade, actually.
I am.
Madden curse got McCaffrey this year, though.
Yeah, he got him. Madden curse still alive and
well, buddy. It's what we did with the capital that we got for McCaffrey. We didn't do anything with it. We ended up drafting Bryce Young, and that hasn't worked.
Chris, real quick, man. Let me speak to Chris's last point real quick if you want to put it up here, man. The offense was not great with Cam after Chud left, and that had a lot to do with y'all know I'm old and forgetful. What's my man that was the OC after Chud, man? Anyway, Shula, Mike Shula. But I think that was more so the Panthers saying, you know what, this run and shoot offense is cool, but it doesn't sync up with the team we want to be. The team we want to be is more of a defensive-minded team. And, we don't want our run and shoot offense having our defense on the field, this long at all times, man. So I think it was more so of a shift of identity, more than and again, Chris, I don't totally disagree with you. But again, I just think it was more of an identity shift more than it was anything else, man. So that's it.
I agree with the essence of what Chris is saying.
Yeah, right.
The Cam was the offense. It's funny. People try when Cam Newton made that comment last season about Brock Purdy, which wasn't a diss, but you know how we love drama.
Yeah. No, Cam Newton triggers people in a way I've never seen it before, man. Ever.
But a lot of people are saying that Cam Newton had a great offense. He had, they start naming off all these Pro Bowlers, right? Greg Olson. Right. He had 2 offensive line Pro Bowlers. Jonathan Stewart made the Pro Bowl that year. Which my thing is Cam made those guys look good because we were the number 1 offense in the league. Because of Cam Newton, we were the number 1 offense in the league. Cam Newton's number 1 receiver was Ted Ginn. Number 2 was Jericho Cotchery. And the year before that, it was rookie Kelvin Benjamin.
Don't
Year
forget
before that
Billy
was a
Brown.
35-year-old Steve Smith.
Right.
So, yeah, but now, that's all water under the bridge. Now, the Panthers, I think they want their identity to be offensive minded, but that's just not. The Panthers have never had that as an identity. Why are we trying to change that? We run the football, we play hard defense. We stop the run. That's been our identity for 30 years. And now David Tepper's like, well, we need to throw the ball more or whatever. Maybe that's why he didn't hire Steve Wilkes. I don't.
Yeah. Well, Kaiser, we are actually running out of time, bro. So offensive, defensive.
Yeah, the Panthers don't deserve this much time. Offensive MVP, Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard. Yep,
Yeah.
I go Chuba Hubbard.
Defensive MVP, Johnny Hecker. He had the best play of the game. Best play of the game.
What's wrong with you, man?
I mean, he did. That punt to pin him deep kept us from getting blown out by 30.
All right, I'm gonna go Shaq Thompson, man. He had 14 tackles.
Shaq Thompson did look pretty good today.
Yeah,
but
I'll go Shaq.
Okay, so let's talk about before we go. Let's talk about the next week, the upcoming schedule, and the possibility of 0-17. If we go a little bit over, so be it. Next week we play the Raiders in Las Vegas.
But a Raiders team who beat the Ravens, by the way, today.
They did beat the Ravens. They're 1-1. They got Gardner Minshew look pretty good.
Yep.
The Raiders aren't like a great team. They're better than the Panthers. ESPN Matchup Predictor has them 65% chance of winning. Okay, so first of all, we're not going to win this game. We're not going to go to Las Vegas and win. That's out of the question, right?
Right.
I guess the question is
how bad is it?
Right. How much do we lose by? I'm gonna
go 21-6.
I was gonna say 24-6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're saying the Panthers don't even get a touchdown next week.
No, I mean they haven't so far. Well, they have one so far. So
running the ball, right?
Yeah,
Maybe I think they'll break the seal next week. I'm gonna give them one. Okay. I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say 24-7.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm still going 21-6. Sorry.
All right, so let's look at the rest of the schedule after that. I'm just gonna start naming some teams, and y'all gonna cringe. Bengals, home versus Bengals, at Chicago, home versus Atlanta, at Washington, at Denver, home versus the Saints, Germany, technically a home game, but it's in Germany, versus the Giants, back home after traveling in Europe for 2 weeks against the Chiefs.
Oh, God.
At home against the Bucs.
The Chiefs, listen, bold prediction. The Chiefs may put up 50 against us. Go ahead.
That's going to be bad. And then we play in Philly. And then we come back home to play the Cowboys. That's an away game.
That's an away game. Yep.
That's a home away game against Dallas. Then we play home against the Cardinals,
who are currently beating the Rams 21-3.
And then we close the season. Oh, by the way, that's our season, our final home game. And then we close the season at Tampa Bay, at Atlanta. Dog.
If we pull out 2 wins this season.
Okay, so our best chances are the Bears.
New York. Yep.
Yeah, New York and Germany.
I'll say this. I think there's an outside shot against the Commanders. I'll say that.
You might catch Atlanta slipping.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta's not that great. They're better than the Panthers, but they're not even that great.
Commanders have a rookie quarterback, man. I give us an outside shot at that one.
God dang. Yeah, you got to win in Germany. You have to win. You got
to win that one, man. Because if you don't win that one, we talk about history if we don't win that one, man.
Yeah, I 0-17 is real.
Yep.
That's a real no shit possibility. And it's so hard, especially with an extended season. We really play one more game. It was very hard to go 0-16. You had to be that bad. We've seen it twice, right?
Yeah. Now,
You got to be worse than that now.
So Jamar's asking in Washington, believe it or not, man, so oddly and weirdly enough, there's actually a big Panther contingent in Washington, believe that or not. So I don't think Washington is going to be some overwhelming road game, for the Panthers. Even as bad as we are, man, I just don't see this being some overwhelming road game. And again, let me repeat. I did say outside shot. There is no game I'm comfortably predicting we're going to win any of these. So I just want to make that very clear, man.
See, I feel like against a rookie QB, and I'm not talking like a generational talent rookie QB.
Right.
About a rookie quarterback. Your coaching staff should be
a rookie QB with something to prove, basically.
Right. Your coaching staff should be salivating at the thought of facing a rookie QB.
Right.
Evero should be like, oh, yeah, this is a W, at least for the defense.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, I'm going to put that on the coaches. If we're not able to go out there and at least have the defense look competent, and Washington don't got Chase Young no more. So, yeah, I mean, there's some – I think Washington, Chicago, New York are our best chances, and even those, I'm not even –
Yeah. And let me repeat, man. I am not comfortably predicting any of these teams we beat. I want to make that 100% clear again.
So this is a good point. I thought about this earlier. I actually thought about betting on the Panthers today or betting against the Panthers because that's like guaranteed. But the problem is that they're too bad. They're too bad. The spread.
You're not going to win anything, right?
Yeah,
right.
The spread is such that you would have to bet an incredible amount to make just a little bit. And if the Panthers do fluke up and win, you've lost that. It's like it's a guaranteed loss, but they're too bad to bet
to win anything.
Yeah, it's weird that's the case. They're just too bad to bet against.
Now, Jim, I wasn't thinking of in terms of betting for or against the Panthers. I was thinking in terms of just sports betting in particular. Because look, man, if my team is going to suck, at least the rest of football season could be interesting for me. So yeah, man, I think I am going to get down on some DraftKings and FanDuel or whatever, just so the rest of football season can be interesting to me, man. So no, I'm with you.
Boy, yeah, this season is going to be and we've been through some bad seasons before.
This is amongst the worst, man. Amongst the worst of them.
It's saying a lot that this is the worst of the Tepper era. That's saying a lot because they've all been bad.
Because of one simple thing, man. We didn't think we could get much worse than last year, and so far it doesn't look like we're any better. So
I don't see a single improvement anywhere on the field.
No, man.
On the field, on coaching, there's not a single thing we do better than they did last season. And it's funny. It was like, well, they can't be any worse this season, right? That was what we were saying. Well, they obviously can. So
Jeffrey Miller, no, I'm not surprised at all. And that Jeffrey's asking, are we surprised Tepper hasn't really spoken to the press this year? No, I'm not surprised. And quite honestly, me personally, I don't want to hear from him, man.
What's he gonna say?
He's just gonna. I mean, what's he gonna say to make us feel better? Nothing. So.
Well, hey, at least we're only a month away from preseason basketball, so we can be sad about the Hornets too coming up here in a few weeks.
Well, the thing is, the Hornets are. I really truly believe the Hornets are going to get our hopes up. Like I really think they are, and then something will happen, and then we'll be right back to where we are. So
it's LaMelo's ankles. The city is riding on LaMelo's ankles. The entire region, the entire southeast region is riding on this man's ankles. Puma, y'all got to do something.
Y'all got to say it is Charlotte sports season. It's all on y'all.
I mean, this is Especially LeVar Ball came out and made a statement that he wants his sons to all play for the Clippers because now they hate the Lakers. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So he wants
Oh,
all player.
since the Lakers didn't want him now. Oh, okay.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
you, LeVar. Yeah.
So that's
So is somebody going to give LeVar the memo that Jello is not good? Is somebody going to give him that memo, or should I give it to him?
the Michael Jordan was doing him a favor by letting Jello play for.
I swear to God he was, man. I swear he was. Jeffrey, thank you, man. We appreciate you appreciate you being here, man. We appreciate that.
Okay, you know what? Let's take this quick Hornets question real quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do the Hornets trade Melo this year and let Brandon be that guy?
Nah.
But yes.
They'll think about it after this year. If he goes down again this year, they'll think about it for next year. But they're not going to trade him this year, though.
I've always maintained, I think Jamal will agree with me here, LaMelo Ball is not the guy you build around. He is the guy that you use to build around someone else.
He's a great second guy.
Yes. LaMelo Ball. You put LaMelo Ball on any team that already has a big two, they take
off.
Right.
Take off. They take right off.
So I think Brandon Miller is a guy that you build around. Wings right now are the most important position in the league because good scoring guards have become a dime a dozen with the way the rules change and the way skilled players are able to come up in the league. Skilled wings, guys that can handle the ball, that can shoot the three. Brandon Miller was the best three-point shooting rookie last season. Guys that can, when you look at Brandon Miller, he does everything you want an NBA wing to do, and he does it well. And he's only going to get better, right? And the guy thinks he's the next Paul George, and he probably is. So I think you give Brandon the keys, and then you say, all right, LaMelo, you ride shotgun. And you know what? I think LaMelo would be okay with that. I know he said in GQ he wants the keys, but LaMelo Ball wants to win before anything else, right?
I agree. Let me cut you off, man. I think that needs to be stated more. Look, man, there's been a ton of LaMelo criticism over the last 2 years, mainly to do with his injuries. But I have never been one to say that I don't think LaMelo wants. I don't question LaMelo's will to win. I never have.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an issue. I think when people say, when they question if LaMelo wants to win, I actually think that's ridiculous. I really do.
No, he wants to win.
Yeah,
and I think if Charles Lee can get it to him that
how to win.
Winning is not you being out there, playing like it's N1, right?
Right. Because basically there's a difference between not wanting to win versus not knowing how to win. And LaMelo's still a young man learning how to win, man. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that works out. I'll finish my Hornets LaMelo talk with this. I hope LaMelo has heard all the noise. I hope he's heard our criticism, not like he would listen to our show, but I hope he's heard.
That'd be crazy if he did.
I hope he's heard all the noise, and I hope he comes in with a chip on his shoulder next year. Because one thing we can't really question is his talent and his will to win. Because if he stays healthy, he now is going to have that opportunity to take that leap that we've been hoping for the last 2-3 seasons. We all want him to take that Ja Morant leap, right? So if he stays healthy, he's going to have that opportunity, man. And I hope he comes in with that chip on his shoulder next season.
Jamar,
you're exactly right. They need both.
I said last season, LaMelo plays 70 games, they're 4 seed. So I don't know if he'll give us 70 games. If he plays 50, they'll still be a playoff team. But they do need both. This is what you want, right? This is a good time to have. And and ownership and the coaching staff have to recognize this and make it work before it turns into a Larry Johnson
Alonzo Mourning thing.
Situation,
you took the words out of my mouth, man. Yep.
The worst situation in Charlotte sports history. You had two potential future Hall of Famers on the team at the same time, and you couldn't get them to play together for money or whatever, and you broke up a promising young team.
Just like,
Now
and I know it's not us, but it kind of just what popped up in my mind. It's the same thing that happened with Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett. Look how legendary that duo would have
oh my
been.
God, yeah.
But egos and money got in the way of that, man. So, like you said, we need ownership and management to nip that in the bud before it becomes a thing, man.
Absolutely. And I think now I want to say that I think LaMelo and Brandon are going to love playing together because they really didn't get a chance to play together all that much last season due to injuries.
And look, make no mistake about it. LaMelo wanted Brandon Miller here. Make no mistake about that.
That's true.
He didn't
That's
show up
true.
to his workout
He
for
didn't
no
want
reason.
Scoot. I forgot about that. Our
Yeah,
sources told us, and I think it's pretty much verified now that the Hornets didn't draft Scoot because LaMelo said he didn't want to play alongside Scoot, and they drafted Brandon. So plus we forgetting about Miles Bridges, right?
Right.
He's along for the ride now. So that's a good core, right? You got Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, and potentially a healthy Mark Williams. Like, you got to make that work. You make that work. The Hornets are a dangerous team. I think Charles Lee can make it work. Actually, I think he can because he had a similar situation in Boston. I know he wasn't the head coach, but Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Man, okay, another good Hornets question. No. Next.
What was the question? Does Miles get traded?
Does Miles get traded for the deadline?
Nah, the timing of that seems off, being that he just got a new contract, man. Unless there's it
got to be a really good deal.
No. I hate these words, but let me say this again because the Hornets are the kings of this word. Unless there's some other unforeseen circumstances, hint, hint, wink, wink. Unless there's that, no, I don't think Miles gets traded.
Yeah.
Then, just like you said, there has to be an incredible deal if that does go down.
Yeah, they've ridden, for better for worse, they've ridden with Miles Bridges this whole time. And we always said, I remember our brother Vince was saying this, the Hornets gotta build through the draft, develop their guys, and be good that way. Because where they are, they're not gonna get the big free. And that's what they're trying to do with Miles Bridges. If you let Miles Bridges go, it just looks bad on the Hornets because he's going to go somewhere else and ball out. And the narrative will be what?
Oh, well, the Hornets let somebody else go and ball out somewhere else.
Nick Batum is the same player in LA that he was in Charlotte, but, let the league tell it, Charlotte messed up by letting him go.
Oh, boy. I don't even want to talk about that dude, man. Anyway. Shout out.
That's why Steph Curry blooded your face. In your eye. Ow. It's like, man, that was the greatest moment of the Olympics for me. I mean, it was cool we won the gold medal, but it was very cool seeing.
I don't know what was better, Nick Batum bleeding his eyes out or us winning the gold medal. I don't know what I felt better about.
You got crossed up and your eye bleeding. Just $27 million make that feel better? I don't know.
It'll make me feel better. Hell.
Steph Curry could dot my eye any day for $27 million.
Steph Curry could punch me in the face and I'd be all right for $27 million.
Oh my God. All right. That's gonna do it this week because these guys.
Hey, I got a shout out, man. Shout out to the UNC Charlotte 49ers who actually won and beat my alma mater to do it, but it's all good. Hey, it's all good. Shout out to the 49ers, man. The only Charlotte football team to win a game so far.
Hey, man, I don't really do college football. I have to follow it this year because the Panthers are so trash that I need to see who we need to draft. But hey, man, there's a team called Florida State or something like that. Like
I see y'all later. Y'all have a good day, man. Everybody have a good night.
I don't know a lot about college football, so y'all educate me because I thought Florida State was always. They were one of those teams that's always good, always.
Okay, so I'm gonna break this down really quickly, real quick. They lost everybody. They're still butthurt from last year. They're soft. The end.
There you go.
Yep.
The transfer. I think the transfer portal. I like the idea of the transfer portal.
It does not
NIL deals.
guarantee you will be better because when you lose a bunch of seniors
Yep.
and juniors and NFL talent, the transfer portal does not always replace those guys.
No, it does not. All right, it'll get better, Jamal. I mean,
yeah, 2 years from now, maybe.
They'll be the Florida State will be a winning team before the
I'm
Panthers.
sorry, number 4, and DJ Ugo is awful. I forgot that 4th point. Yeah, thank you, Austin.
Who will have a winning record first, Florida State or Carolina Panthers?
Florida State. I'm very confident about that. It won't, maybe not this year, but yeah.
Yeah, Jamal still has UConn basketball. You're right about that, Swagner. I mean, what do the rest of us have? I guess I need to start following Charlotte FC. Someone did ask, one of our fans asked us, how come we don't cover Charlotte FC? And
because we don't know much about soccer.
It would be remiss for us to try and pretend like we know anything. And the only reason we don't really cover Hurricanes is because they play in Raleigh. And I'd love to cover the Hurricanes more because they actually win, but they play in Raleigh.
I actually watched Charlotte FC's match last night and they lost. And the only thing I can really say, and this is me attempting to talk soccer, and I do mean just attempting to. Kalina cannot save everything. You gotta get those guys to clear out.
Yes.
If anybody who watches soccer knows what the hell I'm talking about, you gotta get your team to clear that ball out a lot more than they did, man. Kalina was trying to just save everything. There were too many shots on goal by Montreal, and that's what ultimately won them the match, man. So that's my soccer expertise.
We might have to crash course MLS and start covering it because
those matches are fun to watch, man. I will say I do occasionally watch them, man.
I mean, they're more fun than the Panthers game. So,
and I think watching my paint dry off the wall is more fun than the Panthers.
I mean, I was literally just sitting there watching it, trying to figure out something else I could do while knowing what was going on with the game, so I could talk about it on UC.
Oh man!
God. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here. I need a drink. But y'all take care of each other. Thank y'all for rolling with us today.
Hey man, you can invite me over your house at some point, Cosmo.
Yeah, we gotta get back in the studio, man, and we gotta do this in person so we could drown our sorrows together with our fans. Thank you for being miserable with us.
Last shout out is to everybody who logged in and watched us, man. We appreciate y'all as always, man. Tell your sports loving friends about us.
Charlotte moved a building this week. Did you see that?
No.
It was a old building. I can't remember which one it was. They moved it into Dilworth as if they need more buildings in Dilworth.
It wasn't the building downtown, was it? That old building that's just sitting there for no reason. Not that one.
I don't remember which. Well, it was near South End, I think.
Okay, never mind.
It was an old brick building, and it was just, it took 4 hours to move it, and it was like a big parade of people watching the movie. I was like, damn, I wish I could have gone there and see that. But the reason that was interesting to me is like, wow, Charlotte is actually trying to preserve a little bit of his history. What's going on here?
Right. Well,
they didn't move Chicken Coop.
If that building was on Bailey's for a Rose, it wouldn't have been moved anywhere.
It's torn down. If it's on Rouse's Ferry, you're not getting moved.
Let's get out of here, man. All right, man.